That night, Vegeta gathered with the dragon spheres around him and immediately called the dragon Shinran. The giant dragon appeared with a radiant green glow, opening his eyes widely, ready to fulfill Vegeta's wish. With a voice full of firmness and seriousness, Vegeta said, "I want to bring back someone who is a rival to Zeno, and stronger than him. Someone with a complex past and a troubled relationship with Zeno." Shinran, with a glow of light, replied coldly, "And as you asked, your wish will be fulfilled." An extremely powerful person was summoned, an imposing figure that even surpassed Vegeta's conceptions. An immense woman of apparent power and strength appeared, wearing mysterious royal costumes. This woman was Zeno's mother, who had been exiled from the Kingdom of Kings after a long fight with her son. She had already been one of the most powerful things that existed, and her past was full of battles and bitterness, experiences that affected her relationship with Zeno. As soon as she appeared, she looked at Vegeta and said in a low and bitter voice, "Why did you bring me back from death? What exactly do you want from me?" Realizing the gravity of your questions, Vegeta decided to be direct. He said, "I don't need you to be a force contrary to Zeno. You are the only one who can face my power and help me achieve my goals against Goku and Zeno. But above all, I want to understand more about your past. Why do you and Zeno have this rivalry?" Zeno's mother answered hesitantly. Zeno was at the beginning of his reign as king of the universe, and his ambitions were great, but there were those who did not agree with these ambitions. There was an ancient priest, powerful and influential, called Daishinkan. This priest saw me as a great threat, because he knew that I had immense power and the ability to influence events in the universe. So, he began to trap them to undermine my power, inciting Zeno against me, sowing feelings of hatred towards me. Over time, things began to intensify. Zeno, who initially trusted me as a mother, began to become obsessed with the priest's suggestions and ended up confronting me, and these confrontations turned into violent conflicts. I saw in his eyes the hatred that the priest had planted, and the battles between us intensified until they reached a climax. In the end, Zeno found no other way to get rid of me except to fulfill the priest's will, which was to end my existence and betrayal. Zeno's mother stopped for a moment, breathing heavily, and then said, "Go now. After you brought me back to life, I find myself in a position that allows me to seek revenge. But I need to understand if Zeno has changed or if he is still under the influence of the priest, and if there is a way to achieve justice." As Vegeta heard this story, he began to realize that the conflict between Zeno's mother and Zeno was not just a family rivalry, but a complex political game in which divine forces and personal interests intertwine. He realized that he had an opportunity to use this information to achieve his goals and that a partnership with this dark force could be necessary in his next confrontation against Zeno and Goku. Vegeta and Zeno's mother began an intense training in isolation from the outside world. This training involved advanced combat techniques and secret instructions to increase their power. Meanwhile, Zeno's mother regained her old strength and mastered new techniques that she hoped would give him the power necessary to get revenge on Zeno. At the same time, Goku was involved in rigorous training with the priest within his luxurious palace. The training included new and challenging techniques, and Goku completed it wearing his special training suit. The main objective of this training was to prepare for the day of the exhibition, where Goku would absorb the rays of the palace moon to achieve an infinite transformation of his instinct, thanks to the tail he had recovered. During training, the priest revealed new truths and said the power you will gain with your transformation will not be just an increase in physical strength, but will open doors to new levels of consciousness and skill. However, you must also be aware of the price you can pay. During this period, Zeno observed Goku's training inside the palace, admiring the progress of his apprentice. Zeno felt a certain excitement with Goku's recent training, but at the same time, he was worried about the challenges he could face. He had mixed feelings about the role that new power could play in the future. While Goku was preparing for the scheduled day, Zeno's mother began to worry about the situation. With the increase in Goku's power, she realized that only Vegeta's strength and his own recovery would not be enough to face the challenges that could arise. So, she began to develop a plan to help Vegeta achieve his goals. In one of the most advanced moments of training, Zeno's mother sat down with Vegeta and spoke in a low and determined voice. Vegeta, as you know, Goku is training under the supervision of the priest, and he has become stronger than I expected. We cannot depend only on our current strength to face him. We need a more robust plan. Vegeta, listening carefully, asked, I saw what you suggest. Zeno's mother smiled enigmatically and said, and we have a powerful ally who can help us in this battle. It would be wise to bring another Saiyan of ancient origins, who has rare skills and can be decisive in the future battle. I will bring it now. He is of an ancient and powerful lineage, with vast combat experience and a long history with the Saiyan race. His power can give us a great advantage in the battle that is to come. As he spoke, Zeno's mother used her power to invoke the old Saiyan. After a few moments, a strong figure appeared, wearing traditional Saiyan costumes, with evident signs of strength and experience. He emanated an aura of mystery and grandeur. He realized that he had an opportunity to use this information to achieve his goals and that a partnership with this dark force could be necessary in his next confrontation against Zeno and Goku. Vegeta and Zeno's mother began an intense training in isolation from the outside world. This training involved advanced combat techniques and secret instructions to increase their power. Meanwhile, Zeno's mother regained her old strength and mastered new techniques that she hoped would give him the power necessary to get revenge on Zeno. At the same time, Goku was involved in rigorous training with the priest within his luxurious palace. The training included new and challenging techniques, and Goku completed it wearing his special training suit. The main objective of this training was to prepare for the day of the exhibition, where Goku would absorb the rays of the palace moon to achieve an infinite transformation of his instinct, thanks to the tail he had recovered. During training, the priest revealed new truths and said the power you will gain with your transformation will not be just an increase in physical strength, but will open doors to new levels of consciousness and skill. However, you must also be aware of the price you can pay. During this period, Zeno observed Goku's training inside the palace, admiring the progress of his apprentice. Zeno felt a certain excitement with Goku's recent training, but at the same time, he was worried about the challenges he could face. He had mixed feelings about the role that new power could play in the future. While Goku was preparing for the scheduled day, Zeno's mother began to worry about the situation. With the increase in Goku's power, she realized that only Vegeta's strength and his own recovery would not be enough to face the challenges that could arise. So, she began to develop a plan to help Vegeta achieve his goals. In one of the most advanced moments of training, Zeno's mother sat down with Vegeta and spoke in a low and determined voice. Vegeta, as you know, Goku is training under the supervision of the priest, and he has become stronger than I expected. We cannot depend only on our current strength to face him. We need a more robust plan. Vegeta, listening carefully, asked, I saw what you suggest. Zeno's mother smiled enigmatically and said, and we have a powerful ally who can help us in this battle. It would be wise to bring another Saiyan of ancient origins, who has rare skills and can be decisive in the future battle. I will bring it now. He is of an ancient and powerful lineage, with vast combat experience and a long history with the Saiyan race. His power can give us a great advantage in the battle that is to come. As he spoke, Zeno's mother used her power to invoke the old Saiyan. After a few moments, a strong figure appeared, wearing traditional Saiyan costumes, with evident signs of strength and experience. He emanated an aura of mystery and grandeur. When he arrived at the throne room, he found Zeno sitting on his throne, surrounded by his guards. They did not notice his presence until she suddenly released her energy, surrounding everyone in an energy barrier. Zeno, with his eyes filled with surprise, said, Mother? How did you come back? Zeno's mother, with a firm and angry voice, replied, I came back to take what is mine, Zeno. You have been deceived for years by me and the priest. Now it's time to fix it. Zeno, trying to get up and summon his energy, said, Mother, stop. You don't have to do this. We can talk, but Zeno's mother did not hear. She launched a powerful energy around Zeno and his guards, arresting them in a prison from which they could not escape. She said in a cold tone, There is no more talk. Now you will pay the price. Meanwhile, Vegeta and Kai's were on the outside of the palace. Suddenly, the priest felt what was happening inside the palace, but could not intervene because of the barrier that Zeno's mother had created. The priest, turning to Goku, said, "Something is happening in the palace. We need to act quickly." But before Goku could take a step, Vegeta suddenly appeared before him. Vegeta, with a challenging smile, said, "Goku, you are not going anywhere. This is no longer in your hands." Goku, in shock, said, "Vegeta? What are you doing? Why are you interfering now?" Vegeta, slowly approaching Goku, replied, "I have other plans, Goku. It's time to change the game. While you trained to become the strongest, I was preparing for something much bigger." At that moment, everyone gathered in the square in front of the palace, Goku and the priest on one side, Vegeta and Kai's on the other. The atmosphere was full of tension. The priest, with a warning tone, said, "Vegeta, you cannot change the course of things so easily. You are playing with fire." Vegeta, with a confident voice, replied, "I'm not playing with fire, I'm controlling it." At that moment, Zeno's mother appeared in front of everyone. She said out loud, while watching everyone, "The game is over. Zeno is now in my hands and will no longer be able to intervene." Everyone was stunned by what happened. Zeno, who was always considered the most powerful creature in the universe, was now trapped by his mother. Goku felt confused and tense, while Vegeta remained confident, as if he had planned all this all the time. Goku, looking at Zeno's mother, said, "What are you doing? Why did you arrest Zeno?" Zeno's mother, in a calmer, sharper tone, replied, "Zeno abused his power for a long time. Now I'm going to restore balance to the universe and recover what was taken from me." After Zeno's mother appeared and declared her control, the tension increased even more. Everyone was waiting for what would come next, but things didn't stop there. Suddenly, Zeno's mother raised her hand and launched a strange magic energy towards Goku. Goku's strength began to diminish, and he was trapped in a field of magic energy. He tried to resist, but that energy was very powerful, and he was unable to free himself. The priest, watching angrily what was happening, shouted, "Enough! I will not let you play with the universe like that." The priest tried to intervene to free Goku, but suddenly Kai's, the old Saiyan, intervened, taking advantage of the great power that Zeno's mother had granted him. Kai's, facing the priest, said, "You will not destroy our plans. You have worked in the shadows for a long time. It is time to face the true power." The battle between Kai's and the priest began, with Kai's demonstrating a huge power that the priest did not expect. Each blow made the earth tremble so hard. The priest, with a voice full of anger, shouted, "You have become incredibly powerful, and this is impossible." Kai's, with a confident smile, said, "The power of Zeno's mother is not something to underestimate." At that moment, the priest called his son Viz. The priest, in a loud voice, said, "Viz, I need you now. Gather all the gods of destruction." Viz replied quickly. In a few moments, all the gods of destruction gathered in the square. They were ready to face Vegeta and Zeno's mother at any cost. Beerus, advancing towards Vegeta, said, "Vegeta, you went too far. This betrayal will not go unpunished." The gods of destruction moved quickly and surrounded Vegeta, but Vegeta was not afraid. With a sarcastic smile, Vegeta said, "I was prepared for this. No one can stop me now." On the other hand, the priest's sons, led by Viz, surrounded Zeno's mother to tell her. Viz, in a firm tone, said, "Mother, put things back in place. You should not continue down this path." But Zeno's mother was not willing to retreat. She said coldly, "My children, I raised you to be servants of the strongest, but you do not understand what real power is. It's time to put them in their rightful place." With a powerful magic blow, Zeno's mother easily defeated all the priest's sons. The barrier they were trying to impose on her collapsed quickly, and there was no one left to face her. Meanwhile, the battle between Vegeta and the gods of destruction continued. The fight was intense, but Vegeta, thanks to the power he received from Zeno's mother and Kai's, fought with a force that no one imagined. Beerus, choked after a series of violent blows, said, "What power is this? Vegeta, you have become a monster. Vegeta, while throwing a powerful blow at Beerus, said, I've always been after you, Beerus, but not anymore. On the other hand, Goku was still trapped in the magical field, unable to move. Everyone could see him, but no one could get close because of the force of the field. Goku, in a low and angry tone, said, Vegeta, and this is not the right path. But Vegeta was immersed in his new power, without caring about anything other than surpassing everyone. While the fight continued, Zeno's mother watched with evident superiority, without being affected by any resistance. At that moment, the entire universe was on the brink of chaos, with the conflict between supreme forces that would change everyone's fate. After the priest's sons fell one by one, and even the gods of destruction became impotent before the power of Vegeta and Kai's, the square was full of shock and terror. Viz, slowly rising after his defeat, said, Vegeta, and that was insane. What did you do? Beerus, holding his wound caused by Vegeta's strength, said with fatigue, we can no longer stop him, and even the gods of destruction are impotent now. And in the midst of this destruction, Vegeta was standing, victorious, feeling the incredible force flowing within him. Everyone who faced him fell before him. Vegeta, with a cold smile, said, I told you from the beginning, no one can stop me now. Not even Goku. Zeno's mother, next to him, said in a calm tone, but full of superiority. Now, Vegeta, it's time to finish what we started. Goku has always been the biggest obstacle for you, and it's time to get rid of him. Vegeta looked at Goku, who was still trapped in the magical field, unable to move. Goku looked at Vegeta with eyes full of surprise and sadness, unable to believe what was happening. Goku, with a low and bitter voice, said, Vegeta, and you won't do that. We are friends and partners. But Vegeta did not hear. His mind was full of a single desire, to prove himself and prove that he was the strongest. He turned to Zeno's mother and said, Excuse me, Mrs. Zeno. It's time to end this long battle. Zeno's mother, with a satisfied smile, said, Do it, Vegeta. Finishing Goku will do what you always wanted. At that moment, Vegeta slowly approached Goku, with determination. Everyone was watching, the gods of destruction defeated, Viz and his brothers who witnessed his crushing defeat, and no one could intervene. Beerus, screaming with a trembling voice. Vegeta, stop. Things will never be the same if you do that. But Vegeta did not hear, and in a sudden movement, he summoned a sword of powerful energy and pierced Goku's chest. Goku, breathing heavily, said surprised, V and Vegeta? Everyone was shocked. No one expected Vegeta to be so far. Even the priest, who was in a corner of the square, watched the scene with his eyes filled with shock. Viz, with a broken voice, said, No. Goku. Zeno's mother, smiling happily. Very well, Vegeta. Now you have proven that you are the strongest. While everyone was in shock, Goku began to lose consciousness slowly, with blood dripping from his wound. But before he completely fainted, he looked at Vegeta with eyes full of sadness and disappointment, as if his last words were an attempt to reach Vegeta's heart. Goku, with a weak voice, said, It shouldn't end like this. Then Goku fell to the ground, bleeding. After Goku fell to the ground, silence took over the place. Everyone was in shock at what Vegeta had done. The priest looked at Goku's fallen body, his eyes full of anger and sadness. He felt that everything had been turned upside down. The priest, speaking with a haunting tone of anger, said, Vegeta, and you have exceeded all limits. This is not the path of warriors, and this is betrayal to everything. The priest's energy began to increase enormously, a force that no one had ever seen before. The ground shook under his feet, and the air became more tense. Everyone felt the immensity of that force that was about to be released. The priest, with growing anger, said, And you forced me to do this. Now you will see the true power, the power you would never expect. In an instant, the priest transformed into a much stronger form. A great force enveloped his body with a layer of bright energy. His transformations were a sign of his uncontrollable fury. The priest advanced towards the old Saiyan, Kais, who was beside Vegeta. Without hesitation, he threw his energy in his direction. The priest, facing Kais, said, "And you will be the first to face this power." It was time to reveal the truths. With a single blow, the priest threw Kais away, but before he fell, a shocking truth was revealed. The priest calmly said, "And your power did not come just from Zenon's mother? You were part of a greater plan, a plan intended to destroy the universe." Kais, surprised, said, "Luke, you promised me absolute power." The priest, observing his fall, replied, "And you are just a tool. You were used to execute a greater plan." With a final blow, the priest defeated Kais. He said coldly, "And you could have been more. But you chose the wrong path." At that moment, Zenon's mother decided to intervene personally. She said angrily, advancing towards the priest, "I will not let you ruin my plans. It was time for your destruction." Zenon's mother launched her immense magic energy towards the priest, determined to end his life. But the priest resisted with all his strength. He, fighting to contain the attacks, said, "You are strong, but your strength is not enough." A fierce battle began between them. Each blow made the place tremble and created more chaos. Zenon's mother, furious, shouted, "You exiled me in the past, and this time I will not allow you to win." But the priest continued to resist. He, gathering his energy, said, "And I will not let you destroy this universe. Even if that means my end." The battle between them continued, and as the attacks intensified, the end seemed to be approaching. Everyone watched in awe, unable to foresee the outcome of this confrontation. After a long and arduous battle, Zenon's mother finally managed to defeat the priest, but she could barely stand up. The fight had been difficult, and she knew that was just the beginning. The priest, breathing with difficulty, realized that he had no more strength to continue fighting, and that he did not have enough energy to prolong the conflict. He, looking at Zenon's mother with tired eyes, said, "And you won, but it's not over yet. You still have one last option." The priest slowly raised his hand and directed a weak energy to Goku's body, which was lying on the ground. Goku's heart had stopped, but his brain was still working. The priest threw his energy at Goku's chest, causing a strong electric shock. Goku's body twisted for a moment, and little by little life began to return to him. The priest, in a low and sad tone, said, "And Goku, and there is no time to rest. You are our last hope. If you do not transform now, we will lose everything." Goku got up slowly. His body was in a deplorable state. He could barely stand up. He looked around, seeing the destruction around him, and the faces of friends and enemies. Goku, in a soft tone while holding his chest, said, "And I'm not ready yet." The priest, looking at the moon reflected in front of him, said, "And we have no choice. I will manifest the moon of the palace now. This is the day of the long-awaited exhibition. When you look at it, the final transformation will happen, but it will cost your life." Goku knew that the priest was right. That transformation, which he had waited for so long, would give him the power necessary to defeat Zeno's mother, but would drain all his energy, ending his life. Goku, with a determined voice, despite the pain he felt, said, "And if that is the only way to save everyone, and I will."